so much for joining me for some half and half yoga this evening. This has become kind of my little Wednesday go-to. We're going to do half vinyasa and then half gentle and restorative. So if you happen to have a yoga bolster, you can bring that into play. If you don't have a yoga bolster, you could use a couple of nice bed pillows, or a couch cushion works really well, or a couple of folded up blankets, so that you get just a couple of inches of height and maybe the length of your torso. So my bolster is kind of a little longer than my torso, but it doesn't need to be quite that long. I'm a little on the shorter side, so you can have just as long as it supports from your shoulders to your hips. That's what we're looking for today. So you don't need your prop for the very beginning of class, so you can just set it aside as you find it. And we're actually going to just start off in our child's pose today. So come on down to the floor. And as you come to that child's pose, open your knees nice and wide, toes a little bit closer together. And of course, you could always place a prop underneath your forehead. The only prop I've specified for class today is the bolster or the blanket or the pillows, but you can use any other props that you happen to like in your practice. If your forehead likes to come to the floor, let it rest there. If not, maybe placing your hands one on top of the other and letting your forehead rest there. Take a big breath, expanding the back of your rib cage. And then as you breathe out, feel yourself just melt into the floor. You're going to take 2 more deep breaths here. And then on your third inhale, you're going to press down into your hands, draw them in a little bit towards you. So as you lift up, you start to come towards table pose. Hands under the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. As you inhale, soften the center of your chest. Find cow pose. As you exhale, lift your belly. Find cat pose. And you do a couple more of these at your own pace. Just starting to feel the movement in your spine this evening. Noticing the range of motion that feels pleasantly stretchy. One more of each. Back to your neutral spine, reach the crown of your head forward. Walk your hands maybe 6 or 8 inches in front of your shoulders, and then slide your shoulders over your wrists here in this low plank position. Tuck your elbows in as you inhale, and then as you exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the floor. If you need to scoot your legs back or your hips back, please do so. You're rolling all the way down. Tuck your elbows again in towards you. Press the tops of your feet down. Draw the palms of your hands towards the back of the mat, and then lift the center of your chest, finding a little bit of a cobra pose. As you exhale, lower down and press back towards a bit of an extended child's pose. As you inhale, come forward to your low plank. As you exhale, lower down. Little push up. Inhale. Draw the hands back. Find your cobra pose. Exhale, lower a bit, and scoop back, lift your belly back towards that child's pose. We're just doing 3 more like that. If you feel quite frisky today, you could always tuck your toes under and do a full push-up here. You could pick up cobra, or you could pick up upward facing dog if you feel ready. Coming back to child's pose, you have 2 more. If a full push-up didn't feel like quite enough, you could always add an extra few push-ups. 1, 2, 3, and then come all the way to the floor and lift the center of the chest. Coming all the way back, you have 1 more set. Make it whatever it needs to be for you, whether you add on or maybe you go a little slower and you just spend most of your time in your cobra pose. We'll meet back in child's pose. Take a deep, full breath there. And then inhale to come forward. Your hands should be a little bit in front of your shoulders. Now tuck your toes under. Rock back until you feel a little stretch in the arches of your feet here. It's like a little funky child's pose. And then inhale, hands start to kind of bury your weight a little bit more. Your shoulders come over your wrists. And then lift your knees and rock your hips back. Come to downward facing dog. Take a few moments here. Feel free to pedal around a little bit. We're getting right into it, starting to move right away, because we're only going to do about half an hour of vinyasa, and then we're going to do the rest gentle, stretchy stuff. So if you want to give it a little more than you usually do, you don't have to give a whole hour of vinyasa. You just have a nice, quick session. When you're ready, walk your feet forward towards the front of the mat. Inhale, find halfway lift. Slide your hands maybe to your thighs or to your shins. And then as you exhale, fold towards the floor. Press the outer edges of your feet into the mat. Soften your knees. Dangle here for a deep breath. And then keep pressing into the outside edges of the feet. Lift up through the arches of the feet and start to roll one breath all the way up to the sky. You can take your arms out and up, or you can let your arms be heavy. Totally what feels good to your lower back. As you exhale, your hands will find your sides. Excuse me, I think I got a hair on my arm. You don't have to brush your arm off. Inhale, lift your arms up over your head. Press the palms of your hands together and fold again all the way forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. Again, maybe go onto your legs, have a little support to really reach the crown of your head forward. And then as you exhale, plant your hands down. Step your right foot or your right knee to the back of the mat. Step your left foot or your left knee to the back of the mat. Table or downward facing dog. Inhale, forward, plank. If you're coming from table, you'll again walk your hands forward and slide your shoulders over your wrists, the beginning of that push-up. High push-up or low push-up, come all the way to the floor. Cobra or upward facing dog or sphinx is always appropriate, elbows under the shoulders. And then exhale back. Tuck your toes under, go for that funky child's pose, stretching the arches of the feet for just one breath. Inhale to rock the weight forward to the hands. And then with the toes tucked under, rock the weight back, lift the knees, come to downward facing dog. Take a deep, full breath here. Imagine that you are squeezing your oranges into your armpits. So I'm going to just put a nice navel orange or like cara orange, good size orange here in your armpit, and you're just trying to squeeze it in and hold it in your armpit. Even though that might physically be impossible, you're going for that idea. Inhale, float your right foot to the sky. And then exhale, you're going to step your right foot up to the front of the mat. Bring your left knee down to the floor. Walk your fingertips in towards you. You can untuck your back toes if you want. That's more comfortable, or cushion your knee. And then walk your hands up to the thigh, the hips, or arms all the way up to the sky. Maybe a little lean forward into the front knee. Lift the center of your chest. And think about your shoulders relaxing away from your ears. So if, like me, when you get your arms really close, it feels like there's just like a lot of tension here in your shoulders. Go for a little bit more of a V or even a U shape, bending your elbows a little bit. Inhale again here. And then as you exhale, float forward. Bring your hands to the inside of your front foot. And then you're just going to heel toe your right foot a little further to the right. Turn your right toes to face a little more diagonally out to the right front corner of your mat. You're going to leave your left hand on the floor or your left fist on the floor if that's more comfortable, or you can use a prop here underneath your hand. And then from there, reach the crown of your head forward as you inhale. As you exhale, start to look over towards your right knee, and just that action might be plenty. You can always take your hips further back if it feels a little strainy in your groin. Maybe you can open your right arm up to the sky, or even take your right hand behind you. If it's in your practice and you enjoy binding up, you can even fold your back foot in and catch on. And that's something that is not for everybody's knees. If it works for your knees, go for it. If it doesn't, feel free to let it go. You're going to come back to the center line. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And then tuck your back toe. Lift your back knee. This next one is a little bit challenging. You're going to see if you can lift your right foot up and take it back to three-legged dog. Inhaling all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, place your right foot down on the floor. Take a deep breath here in downward facing dog. Move around to get stable and strong. And then float your left foot to the sky as you inhale. Step your left foot up to the front of the mat as you exhale. Right knee comes to the floor. You can untuck the toes if that feels more comfortable to you. And when you're ready, you start to come up. Hands to thigh or hips or arms up to the sky. And again, you focus on keeping your shoulders a little bit relaxed. And as you relax your shoulders, you might notice that you get so much more space across the center of your chest. You can really open your chest up here. And you feel that the whole heart area, the center of your chest, is just spacious. It's like you can breathe so much more deeply. Take another breath here. And then fold forward. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Take your left foot a little out, heel toe a couple of times. Turn the toes to face the left front corner of the mat. If it's too much to have your hips really far forward, let your hips be further back. Pick the place that feels pleasantly stretchy. Right hand stays down. You can always use a fist or a block underneath the hand. And you look to the left. This little lizard variation might feel like plenty in your hips. Or maybe you lift your arm up. Maybe you take it back behind you. Maybe you fold the foot in towards you. It's totally up to you. What variation feels good this evening? I admit that I'm feeling quite warm and flexible because I've been making beef bourguignon for the last hour, so I'm quite steamy already. Also, the house smells very tasty. When you're ready, you're going to come all the way back down. Plant your hands. And you want your hands to be under your shoulders. And if your foot isn't wide enough for your hands to be underneath your shoulders, you can always take your foot a little bit wider. That's your left foot. Tuck your back toe. Lift your back knee. And maybe you can keep lifting your hips. Lift your left foot all the way back up into the sky. Three-legged dog as you inhale. And then as you exhale, place that left foot on the floor. You could stay right here or even drop to child or table pose. Or you could join me in a half vinyasa, inhaling to plank, high or low. Push up to the floor. If you feel frisky, again, add an extra push-up or two. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog or sphinx. Exhale, we'll all meet back in a downward dog or a table pose. From your down dog or your table, float your right foot to the sky. And then step your right foot to the front of the mat. Step your left foot next to your right foot. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, bring your hands again down to your sides. You're going to keep moving. You got 15 more minutes of movement. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, press the palms together, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down, left foot or left knee steps back. Right foot or right knee steps back. Downward dog or table pose, your choice. Inhale, plank position, high or low. Exhale, push up to the floor. Inhale, cobra or up dog or sphinx. And then we meet back in table or downward facing dog. Take a deep breath there. And then floating your right foot to the sky, inhale. Step your right foot again to the front of the mat as you exhale. Here we're going to go back into our twist. So again, you might take your right foot a little bit wider out to the right, and you can turn your right toes, and you can keep taking your right foot out to the right and towards the back of the mat as we go into this next pose until you find a position that feels good. Your left hand is grounded down. If it feels better, you can always create a fist and place that on the floor. You're going to twist over towards your right. And maybe that's plenty. The right hand could come to the thigh. The right hand could come to the sky. If you feel stable and strong in your shoulder, you can keep going. You can keep walking your right foot a little back and out as you come to the outside edge of your left foot, little side plank variation. And you can keep walking this foot back until you have a comfortable position. Press into the right foot, lift the hips. Take a couple breaths. That might be a little far forward on my hand. You want your shoulder to be above your left wrist or slightly behind it is even more comfortable for a lot of bodies. Inhale. And then exhale, fold towards the floor. If like me, you walked your foot really far back, you're gonna walk a little forward so you can turn your right foot to face forward, turn your left foot to face forward. Maybe you can go for three-legged dog as you inhale to the sky. And then exhale to the floor. You could stay right here. You could drop to a pose of rest before we take the other side. Maybe wiggle out your wrists. You could take a half vinyasa if you feel frisky. And again, that's plank. Lower high push-up. Back bend of choice. And make your way back. You can come through a plank. You can come through child's pose and then to downward facing dog. Allow yourself to feel into what works for your body. We'll all meet in table or downward facing dog. And from there, we float the left foot to the sky. Step the left foot to the front of the mat. And again, you can already be taking that left foot a little further out or angling the toes to the left. And you keep the right hand on the floor, or maybe the right fist on the floor is more comfortable. I've even seen people do this with the forearm on the floor, but it's a lot of work in the hips. And you twist over to your left. And you can keep it right here. That might feel like just right tonight. Nice little bit of action in your hips, maybe an arm to the sky. You can take it a little further, continuing to walk your left foot back and down, keeping it angled out to the left side, maybe rolling to the knife edge, the inside edge of your right foot. When you have a comfortable placement for your left foot, press it down, lift your hips up. It's like you're trying to create like a little rainbow here underneath your body as you lift your hips up. Enjoy that heat. Tuck your right shoulder blade onto the back. And a couple more breaths here. You can stay in your Vashisthasana prep, or you can stay in your twist, or you can kind of mix it up between the two. When you're ready, you fold back towards the floor. You walk that foot far back, walk, walk, walk. Turn the left foot forward, rotate the right foot forward, plant the hands down. Maybe you can go three-legged dog. And then left foot is going to the floor. The one that's lifted. Option to take your half vinyasa, or option to simply rest. We have one more standing series to go, so act appropriately. If you feel quite frisky, maybe you add those extra push-ups. If you're ready to come to that restorative portion, maybe you take a little rest here to get yourself ready for the next couple of minutes of flow. As you come back to table or dog, you'll float your left foot to the sky and step your left foot to the front of the mat. Step your right foot to the front of the mat. Inhale to find half lift. Exhale to soften. Keep your knees a little bent, press against the outside edges of your feet. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands down by your sides. Take a nice deep full breath here. And then inhale again, arms come overhead. Press the palms together, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands down. Step or hop your feet back to table or downward facing dog or plank position. Inhale, we'll all meet in plank, high or low. Exhale, come all the way to the floor. Bring yourself all the way down. Slide your hands back by your thighs. Let your palms either face your thighs, or if you like, you can interlace your palms together, your hands together, if that feels good for your shoulders. As you inhale, press the tops of your feet down. Going for half locust. Roll your shoulders back. Lift the center of your chest. Move your hands towards your heels as you squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, release. This time, full locust. Inhale, lift the torso. Maybe you can lift the legs as well. Hold for a beat. Feel the back of your thighs. Feel your spine. And release. Give one more. Inhaling to lift. You can go just upper body or upper and lower body. Keep reaching the hands towards the heels. Keep lifting the thighs towards the ceiling. Release. Plant your hands under your shoulders. press back, child's pose, or if you want, tuck your toes, go funky, child's pose. It's just a breath here. And then inhale, rock the weight forward to the hands. Lift the knees and rock back to downward facing dog. Inhale your right foot to the sky. Exhale your right foot up to the front of the mat. Now you could take this next one as a crescent lunge. That's back foot straight forward and back. Or if you always feel wobbly in crescent lunge and you want something a little more stable, you can always step your back foot in a couple of inches and maybe a couple of inches to the left, and then set your back heel down for warrior 2, more of that 45-degree angle. So your choice, crescent or warrior. I said warrior 2, but I meant warrior 1, because we're going to be facing straight forward. Crescent or 1. When you're ready, lift from the pit of your belly all the way up, bringing your arms up, hands to hips or arms up to the sky. Again, find that bit of space here in your shoulders, maybe a big V or cactus shape. Lift the center of your chest. Inhale deeply here. And then as you exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands again to the inside of your front foot. Walk your right foot a little further to the right, a little out to the outer edge with the toes. And you're going to go into this kind of half squat position. So you can drop your hips down a little bit. You want to keep your back knee lifted and lift the center of your chest. It's a variation of lizard pose. And your hips aren't like collapsing towards the floor. You don't want to feel only sensation in the inside of your left hip. There's just a little bit of heaviness in the hips. Take another breath. And then set your hands underneath your shoulders. If you need to move that right foot around to get there, please do. Now see if you can lift your back hip, lift your right foot up into the sky, maybe even up to 3-legged dog as you inhale. And then exhale, right foot to the floor. Option to take your half vinyasa, or option to rest for a few breaths. Another nice place to rest is in your Caesar pose, sitting on your heels or cross-legged. Noticing the movement of your breath. Take that over to the other side. Complete our vinyasa. When you're ready, come back to table or downward facing dog from wherever you were. The left foot floats to the sky as you inhale. The left foot steps forward to the front of the mat as you exhale. You can pick crescent lunge, back foot straight forward or back, or step the right foot in and maybe a little out to the right, heel down for warrior 1. And I think I said it right this time. The first warrior. When you're ready, lift up from the pit of your belly, rise all the way up, crescent lunge or warrior 1. Soften your shoulders, feel free to widen your hands or come to a big cactus so you feel the space at the center of your chest. Just a few breaths here. Enjoy this powerful place. This is a strong pose. Inhale deeply. As you exhale, you fold to the inside. We're going for that funky lizard. So hands plant down, and you can walk your left foot a little further to the left and angle your toes a little bit out to the left. And you let your hips just be heavy. If you have a lot of capacity to lower down, don't lower your hip further. It's not about the stretch, it's about the strength of like standing really close to the floor without moving. Bend your elbows and lower your torso further. So you're bringing your upper body towards your lower body for a few breaths. And you really feel, especially if you get into that elbow bend, the fire in your front thigh. We don't have a long practice today, so we're really building up the heat to use to stretch us out in a few moments here. When you're ready, you can lift your hips a little bit. You want your hands under your shoulders to adjust your left foot if you need to. And then lift those hips up. You can be pressing into the balls of the right toe. See if you can lift all the way back. Maybe a 3-legged dog. And then place the left foot on the floor. Option to take that half vinyasa or option to sit in Caesar or child's pose or take a table or simply hold your downward dog. And we'll meet in the next couple of breaths in table or downward facing dog. I'm going to finish off our standing series with just a wee balance. When you're ready, walk or step your feet to the front of the mat. You can also hop up there if you're feeling frisky. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. Exhale, press the palms together, bring the hands in front of the heart. Take a deep, full breath here. You can stay facing exactly as you are. I'm just going to turn to face towards you. I'm going to take a tree pose. Bring your weight to your left foot. See if you can feel all four corners of your left foot. And then lift your right heel up. Tuck your left hip in. Slide the sole of your left foot to your ankle, to your calf. Or lift it up towards your thigh. See where you feel strong and stable here today. And you can simply let your hands rest in front of your heart. Or maybe you lift your arms up and again you find that openness at the center of your chest. Even as your arms are lifting out, maybe they're lifting a little outwards as well. So the space around your heart again stays open. Take another deep breath. And see how gracefully you can release this evening. Remember, it's not so much the gracefulness, it's the effort towards gracefulness that's important. When you're ready, you can wiggle out that standing leg. Get ready for the second side. Feel the four corners of your right foot. Lift your left heel. Slide the sole of the left foot towards the right ankle or calf or thigh. And you just pick the one that feels strong and stable. More important that you feel the stability in your tree pose so that you can keep opening the center of your chest. It's like you have, I've used this before, but you're super. You have a big super S on your chest. You are Superman or Superwoman. And you lift your chest forward. You get that kind of tall, powerful posture, maybe even opening the arms out to the sides. And that's the important part. The important part really isn't the balance. It's the ability to stay open here, stay strong wherever you are. And your open chest, your open heart is where all of that strength comes from. Inhale here. And then again, how gracefully can you release? And sometimes the grace doesn't come physically. Sometimes the grace has to come from how you react to when you fall over. So whatever kind of grace you're getting tonight is perfect. Shake things out. And then come up to the front of your mat. If you don't yet have a prop, you might like to take this opportunity to grab either a yoga bolster or a couple of pillows or folded up blanket for the next portion of our class. And just set that handy next to your mat. Take your toes out and your heels in. We're gonna squat our way towards the floor. Really slowing things down. Hands come to the heart as you inhale. And as you exhale, you bend the knees and you come to your squat. You could do your horse, hands to thighs. Your spider, fingertips reaching in front of you. Or you can come to Malasana, hips between the heels. Ooh, hello, crackly ankles. Whatever you choose, take a couple of deep breaths in your squat. I have to be honest, I'm only staying in Malasana because I'm too tired to get back up after showing you to one of the other poses. So pick the one that actually feels good. Don't feel like the third one is the best one because it's the last one. When you're ready, you are going to release yourself towards the floor, any way that works for you, and come to seated. As you come to your seated position, the soles of the feet to come together and the knees come out to the sides. Sit far back from your heels, so there's a big, nice diamond of your legs. And you want to sit far enough back that you can sit up straight and tall here as you inhale. As you exhale, you fold forward. Just just rest your fingertips to the floor. You're welcome to hold your feet here in this butterfly pose, but you are equally welcome to use your prop in front of you. You can use it kind of lying forwards, is how I think of this. Resting your forearms. Sometimes I rest my head in my hands here, or my forehead in my hands. Feels really nice occasionally. Kind of a gentle, lazy version. You can also use, if you're quite high up, your bolster the opposite direction, kind of turning it towards you. You can rest it on your feet or on the floor in front of your feet and rest your forehead on the bolster. And this doesn't work great unless you have an actual yoga bolster or you're using a firm couch cushion. Pillows, this is not super doable unless you have the world's firmest pillows. It is an option. You can find the place that feels just right for you. Don't hesitate to grab other props if you want your forehead to rest down, but the feet or the prop feels far away. You could stack a yoga block here, a couple of books. As I said, you can rest your head and your arms in any way that feels nice. I've still got another almost minute here, so allow yourself to just ease into your butterfly. Like in your child's pose at the beginning of class, as you inhale, feel your rib cage, the back of your rib cage specifically expanding. Feel the space between your vertebrae expanding. Take another deep breath here. And walking your fingertips in towards you slowly and gently bring yourself to seated. As you reach seated, roll your shoulders back. Move your prop, if you're using one, out to the side. Bring your knees in, place the soles of your feet on the floor. Lean a little back, lift your chest as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just windshield wiper your knees a little side to side. A couple of seated poses here to stretch things out in the sides of the body. When you're ready, you're going to draw your feet and you're going to take your knees over to the right and your feet over to the left. So you're sitting in a little bit of a pinwheel. And again, I'm just going to turn to face you so you can see a little better. Your right ankle is generally underneath your left thigh in this pinwheel shape. You can be a little more stacked if you need to and put a prop underneath your left butt cheek. Reach your arms up here as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring your left hand down. You can bring it to the floor or your ankle, or you can use your prop as you lean over to the left, stretching the right side of the body. Mermaid pose. Maybe you like to look up towards the ceiling. Keep your shoulders, again, a little bit relaxed. And instead of focusing on reaching the right arm over, focus on taking the right arm back. So again, you feel that space across the center of your chest. People can still see that there's that big super S emblazoned across your chest. As you inhale, come back to the center line. This next one is slightly tricky, so go slow. You're going to lift up your left knee, and you're going to take your left foot over to the outside of your right knee. And if you have quite a bit of flexibility in your hips, you might come directly to Ardha Matsyendrasana, just dropping your left butt cheek down and then twisting to your left. You might find that as you come into this, you feel a lot of tension. If that's the case, you're going to extend your bottom leg long, so your right leg goes towards the end of your mat. Left leg is still crossed over. You're still twisting as you're ready towards your left knee, so over towards your left. And you could hug your left knee towards you or lace your arm to the outside of your left leg. You can find that folded in variation or the extended variation. It's totally up to you. With each inhale, feel the crown of your head rise up. With each exhale, let your belly button come a little closer to your spine. Maybe you move a little deeper into the twist. As you inhale, come back towards the center line, unwind yourself. You're gonna lift up your legs, and give them a little shake if you want to. And then when you're ready, you're gonna take your feet to the right and your knees to the left for that mermaid pose. So your left ankle is more than likely underneath your right thigh. You know, always prop underneath your buttocks. If you wanna use a prop, you just move it over to the side. And then you're gonna lift your arms up as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, you're gonna go over to the right, stretching the left side of the torso. And again, it's not about how far over to the side you can get, it's how far can you go to the side while still keeping your chest open and spacious. While still keeping space along the sides of your neck, so no congestion up here by your shoulders. You do not want to look like a linebacker here. Unless you happen to be a linebacker, and then there's not much you can do about it. You want to imagine that you have a nice long neck here. Those shoulder muscles don't have to be up by your ears. So you inhale, come back to the center line. And here you're gonna lift that right foot up, and you're gonna cross your right foot to the outside of your left knee. And that might feel perfectly good. I always feel like I have to wiggle a little bit over to the right to drop my right butt cheek in this position. As you do that, or as you cross over, it's too much, you extend your bottom leg. That's your left leg, your right knee is tented, and you twist towards your right this time. And you can see leg extended, or foot folded in, what feels just right to you. Let your breath guide you deeper. As you inhale, you grow tall. You find that axial extension, the length of your spine. And as you exhale, the belly to the spine, and maybe you sink a little deeper. As you inhale, you come back to the center line. You unwind yourself, you unwind your legs. You go back to windshield wipers if you want. Knees coming a little side to side. You can just shake your legs out a little. Give them some jello. And here we're gonna go into our restorative work. We're going to start with a little back bend here. So you'll want to take your bolster or your pillows or your blankets to the back of the mat and align them perpendicular to the mat. And you'll want some space back behind that. And we're gonna lie our shoulders over the bolster here. So you'll want to sit a little bit in front of the bolster. And then you'll want to lie back, and as you lie back, you want the bottom of your shoulder blades to kind of line up with the bottom of the bolster, more or less. So that as you lock back, you can take your arms perhaps over the top of the bolster. If the floor feels far away, feel free to place an additional folded blanket or a block or a book underneath your head here. Or you can scooch yourself a little further down on the bolster and let your arms rest on the bolster as well. You can always customize this. If going this direction is just too much for your spine and all you feel is kind of tense or even sometimes slightly dizzy here as you let your head drop back, you can skip this and you can go instead to a long bolster. So you just orient your bolster, your blanket, or your pillows the other way so that your whole torso is supported here as you let your arms come out to the side. So you can try and see which one feels best to your body. When you find your positioning, close your eyes. I'm keeping my knees tented because that just feels nice to my body, but you're welcome to extend your legs long Or you can take the soles of your feet back together, back to Baddha Konasana. And again, just focus on your heart, on that expanded now center of your chest. You can even feel a gentle stretch in the muscles there as you recline over your bolster. Your heart is growing, it is stretching out, it is expanding. Fair amount of strengthening of the chest and shoulders with our push-ups and our three-legged dogs today. So this is a really nice counter to that work, letting the muscles that we have strengthened also get some stretch. But this is just a really lovely place physically to be as well as mentally. When we open up our physical heart space, can help us to mentally open up that space as well, to feel a little more expansive. When we feel strong and powerful and super, we can feel a little more supportive towards others. We have a little more to give. So let your heart grow a little bit tonight. Expand in capacity. It's the most amazing things about, or one of the most amazing things about our hearts. The more love, the more support we give out, the more there seems to be. It's not like there's a finite supply of love out there. It's endless, and the more you have of it, the more you give of it, kind of creates a chain reaction and just more starts to grow. Let your heart start to bubble over. You might even start to feel that sensation. Stretching sensation is not just in your chest, but it spreads to your shoulders and out along your arms. It bubbles up to your ears and down to your belly and your hips and your thighs, out your fingers and your toes. So that open sensation fills your whole body. Whole body is filled up. You might feel, oh, there's still more, there's still expansion, there's still love, there's still more to give. So you might, now that you've filled up your whole self, give out a little bit of strength and love to someone in your life. Sending a little mental hug. Just send that idea out to them. May you also feel powerful and super and loving and strong. absolutely no hurry. You just blink your eyes open. You draw the soles of your feet in so your knees point to the ceiling. And again, you can take some windshield wipers, taking the knees a little side to side. Whatever side feels best, you're going to just roll yourself all the way over to that side. Go ahead and rest there for at least one deep breath, maybe 2 or 3. And then use your hands to press yourself up. Here we're just going to move this bolster downwards. So what you want to do now is drag the bolster and set it underneath your knees as you sit right in the center of your mat. We're going to take a supported bridge pose. If you're using something that's hard to drag around up and down, you can always put it by your side instead here and then draw it underneath. We're going to support our hips as we lie ourselves back. And the nice thing about moving restoratively is you have a long time to get into a pose, so don't rush into the pose. Take the time to get yourself comfortable and to figure out what works for your body. When you're ready, you lie yourself back all the way down. You're going to snuggle your bolster if you're using one up against your hips. If you have your props by the side, you can put a hand out, press your heels down, lift your hips up, and then take support underneath your hips and drop them down. You want to have your hips elevated and supported. And you could let your hands rest on your belly, out to the sides, really wherever feels pleasant for your shoulders. And again, as you do get comfortable, close your eyes. Let yourself feel a smile growing on your face. Corners of your mouth just turn up ever so gently. As you begin to smile, your eyes soften. Your jaw can be smooth and relaxed. Especially now, it is difficult because we are all out there often wearing face coverings and masks, and the smile that we often give to those around us, strangers and friends alike, is not visible. You can't see it. Have to set a little more intention these days behind your smile. Take a few moments to really feel that the smile is not just the turning up of the corners of your mouth. It's a whole change in how you feel. You can even try turning the corners of your mouth down. See how that feels. You kind of feel silly. And then notice the difference when you let the corners of your mouth start to tilt up. Everything changes. You might even actually feel physically lighter when you do that. Even though maybe nobody can see you smiling at them, keep doing it, keep smiling. The intention, as is so often the case in yoga, is what matters. We put that intention of smile out into the world. Even if no one can see the physical manifestation, the energy is there. Let that energy permeate your whole body. Smile with your shoulder blades. Smile with the palms of your hands and your fingertips. Smile with your belly, with your hips, with your knees, with the soles of your feet. again at your own pace. There's no hurry. You blink your eyes open. You take a deep breath. And here, when you're ready, what you're going to do is press into your heels, lift your hips, and you're just going to slide your bolster back down underneath your knees as you lower your hips to the floor. And you might decide that this is a really nice Shavasana with the bolster underneath the knees. I always feel like I like that, but I first need to draw my knees in towards my chest for a few breaths just to release the lower back. So if you need a counter pose for a moment before you go to Shavasana, please don't hesitate. Even a happy baby would be a really nice option here. Another very smiley pose. I mean, it just makes you happy to do this. You can't be grumpy and happy baby. It's in the name. And then you come, again, when you're ready, there's no rush, towards Shavasana. And you can take this bolster under the knees, and the bolster could be low, or the bolster could flip up and be a little taller. If you have a very curvy lower back, sometimes having a high bolster can be a little more supportive. I like my knees to come a little out to the side and my feet together, kind of like a little frog. And you might decide that that's the perfect place to rest. However, as with any Shavasana, you are more than welcome to use your props and accessories in any way that feels good. Letting yourself find the space that is most comfortable and most relaxing for your unique body. Find that place where you are practicing in your body that idea of love. And feel like your body can have a little smile. It's happy. This is a good place to be. Reach that place again, you close your eyes. And you feel the expansion at the center of your chest as you breathe in. And you feel the corners of your mouth turn up as you breathe out. Resting here. In this place of love and happiness.
usual. It would be ever so lovely if you had an extra 5, maybe even 10 minutes to spend here. But perhaps it's time to move on with your day. Taking a deep breath in. And a big sigh out. You wiggle your toes and your fingers. You blink your eyes. Maybe you draw the soles of your feet in and you could rest them on your prop or on the floor, or you could hug them in towards your chest. See what feels right to you. Wherever they are, maybe you sway a little bit from right to left, either like windshield wipers, or with the knees hugged towards you. As you're ready, again, you can roll all the way over to one side. Rest for at least one deep breath before coming to your most comfortable seat. Feel free, of course, to use your prop underneath you in that seat. As you arrive in your comfortable seat, draw your hands today, one and then the other on top of your heart, so you can feel the heat of your hands at the center of your chest. And as we breathe deeply, you're going to expand your heart into your hands as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, relax your shoulder blades. We'll close as usual with that deep breath together. We'll go in through the nose if you can, out through the mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practices and your time with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Once again, thank you all for doing this virtual yoga with me, number 1. Number 2, thank you for your generous and kind donations. And just thank you. I feel so lucky that we can still be connected even in this time of distancing. I hope to see you both virtually and perhaps in person soon. Thank you.